So let me ask you, if you had a $66,000 question and the solution to solve that $66,000 problem only cost you $1,500, would you do it? I bet you the answer would be yes. Yesterday I had an opportunity to be able to meet a very fine couple. This couple had gotten married later in life. They had some pretty decent assets. They had a nice farm, not too huge, just a couple of sections. They had a nice acreage. They had retirement savings. They had just really a well put together set of resources that would allow them to be able to have success down the road if they perfectly allocated their money and they were careful to implement the right tools in their toolbox. Well, one of the things that I noticed is that they had a bit of a conundrum when it came to their estate plan. You see, they knew that the farm was going to be passing on to one of their children, or to their only child, I guess in this case. And they were certain about him, but what they weren't certain about was what his relationships would be like down the road. In other words, he had a current relationship today, and they liked her, they tolerated her, but they were kind of distrusting of her because they were thinking, well, what if they get married and then she divorces our son? There goes half of the farm, and, my dad would just roll over in his grave if something like that happened. And so I helped them see that in order to be able to solve this problem, they needed a much more complete set of tools in their toolbox. So many of us take the path of least resistance, and when it comes to estate planning, typically that path of least resistance is either A, not to do anything at all, or it's to have simply just a last will and testament. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with a last will and testament. Nothing at all. Last will and testaments are extremely simple and easy to use, and they're better than having nothing. But in order to be able to protect the ground from Medicaid and the spend down process that occurs when a person goes into the nursing home, in order to protect that farm ground from, say, a lawsuit or from a divorce, they needed to have something more complete, something more protective than just a last will and testament, which doesn't provide any protection whatsoever. But I found that they had a major challenge. You see, because of a past experience with a parent dying and having a member of the family as an attorney that said, you don't need to do this. If you just do this over here and this over here, everything will turn out just fine. They were applying the results of one very unique circumstance to now this set of circumstances. And unfortunately, all the things that worked for them in the first situation wouldn't allow them to have the outcome that they were looking for in this situation. It took quite a long time, but it was finally to that point where their mind opened and they realized that when it comes to receiving advice, they have to be open to it. Otherwise, they won't find the solutions that they're looking for. This is the reason that when I sit down with a client, this is the reason when Amanda sits down with a client, that we focus on one thing first. And that's not what you've got, it's what your outcome is. Because if you're not looking down the road and you're not focused on what is my outcome, how will you ever arrive at having the right tools selected to be in the toolbox to help you achieve that outcome? So remember, when it comes to receiving advice, looking for advice, trying to find a solution to any problem, whether it's making your money last the rest of your life and having more income than you need, or making certain that when you pass on, you're able to avoid probate and you're able to make certain that your assets are protected from all the different scenarios that exist. You must be open-minded and receptive of the ideas, the solutions, the tools that you need to have in that toolbox. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's up to you to make today a great day.